The youth protests in Leh yesterday may not have been as spontaneous as earlier thought to be. The MHA, the Ministry of Home Affairs, says the main protagonist, the agent provocateur, seems to be the climate activist Sonam Wangchuk. They say that Wangchuk is the one who deliberately stoked and egged on the Gen Z protesters to try and draw inspiration from the Arab Spring or from the Nepal protests that happened just a few days ago. And when things got violent, he washed his hands off. In fact, earlier this evening, the FCRA licenses, the Foreign Contribution Regulatory Act license for his NGOs, has been cancelled. A CBI case, which was long pending against him, has been revived, which begs the question, was all of this deliberately stoked? Mr. Wangchuk, on his part, says that all of this is cooked up, all of this is old stuff that's being brought back, and that this is simply a deliberate way to deflect from the main issue at hand, which is the long pending demand that Ladakhis have of separate statehood and their inclusion under the 6th schedule of the Constitution. But just after the violence broke out yesterday, the central government has singularly blamed Sonam Wangchuk, his speeches, his actions, for the entire disruption of peace that we saw yesterday in Ladakh and in Leh. The centre is suggesting, and the MHA has put out a formal statement suggesting, that certain individuals with political agendas were dissatisfied with the current developments in Ladakh, and they may have been influencing the unrest behind the scenes. The government also claims that some of these actors deliberately attempted to derail the ongoing discussions between the centre and Ladakhi stakeholders, the Apex Council, as well as members of the central government who were supposed to meet sometime in October. Those meetings have now been advanced to later this month. Some of these individuals, they say, were undermining the peaceful resolution efforts that this dialogue was seeking to achieve. Sonam Wangchuk is accused of making public statements which they allege he allegedly incited the protesters, and that contributed to the escalation of tensions. The MHA also highlights that Sonam Wangchuk invoked Arab Spring-style protests or Gen Z-style Nepal protests, which he believed could encourage large-scale civil disobedience in Leh. The government also claims that Wangchuk drew parallels to the recent youth-led protests in Nepal, implying a call for similar youth mobilization in Ladakh